we heard it before. You kind of redefine what a hit is, in a sense, right? Because you're this chart topper, but you listen to these songs, they're not like what we were taught. We're like, some of them are, but some of them aren't. Most of them aren't like what you would think the radio single is. Do you think you sort of redefine what a hit is with your consistency?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we were thinking at the time when we decided to drop Marvin's Room as like a lead single. So yeah, I definitely think that we've always kind of I guess broke the mold in that regard, and it just continues. It continues. I mean, even all the way up until God's Plan, right? Like God's Plan was a song that I recorded like on a whim in my condo and thought nothing of it. I only had the first verse and the hook. I sent it to Trippy and I was like, yo, maybe this could work for your album. And he was obviously, caught up, busy, whatever, doing his thing. And I know people punish him for that. They shouldn't punish him for that, though. Sometimes artists send a song. I was looking through my text the other day, and Young Thug sent me that Lil Baby song to get on, and I was so mad because I just Lil Baby off So Much Fun. He had sent me like 12 songs, but in that 12-song package, Lil Baby was in there. I was like, damn, that's like one of my favorite joints on the album. How did I not get a verse off on there? But yeah, I sent it to him, and whatever happened, it didn't really work out that way, and then it leaked, and people forced my hand because they were like, "Yo, that shit sounds hard," and we had to rush and turn around because I was worried that another artist was gonna get the version and just start laying like random verses on it. Which back in the day was a huge hustle for people, getting leaks with like one verse idea leaks, and then like a random artist off like, whatever would just be like, yeah, this is me and Drake's new shit. But yeah, so we rushed. Like I remember like that night when the clips came out, and I think it was like around New Year's Eve, right? And we were rushing to try and turn it around in the next 2 days. And I remember I just was like, yo, I have to do a second verse. It has to be hard. And I did the line, the line of the song, I only love my bed and my mama, and when Noel put the drop on that line, I was like, okay, maybe. But even then, I mean, my point is I never could have told you a week before that God's Plan was my single and it was gonna be the biggest song of my career. I never would have known that. My hand just got forced. And it is truly, I do feel as though I can put in the maximum amount of effort. I can use all my heart and my soul, in my writing. But at the end of the day, I am being guided by some other power. I don't know what it is, but somebody likes me somewhere, and that's just the facts, like a lot of this is organic. It's not that calculated. And so yeah, when we talk about singles not being traditional, it just kind of works out that way. I think we all have a good ear, and there's a core 8 to 10 people that I really look to for opinion. And once those people tell me that, once those people, well, one of them sitting right there for sure.
He said I can't mention them.
Yeah. The ever elusive. Once those people, give me their nod of approval, then I'm usually comfortable enough to say, well, fuck it, let's try it. And I can't think of that many times.
Well, that's the thing too. A lot of artists get to the point where they're successful, they don't even listen to any of it, even 8 other people's voices. Like feel like at this point in your career, you're still willing to take the feedback from your core, from your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm way too self-conscious to not require approval from people who I respect. I'm a very insecure person when it comes to my music, and especially when we're talking about starting a whole new chapter like what we're working on now. And that's only because until you've surrendered it to the world, you really don't know how people are going to feel about it. And even when you surrender it to the world, now we're in the times where the first reaction is just people just want to say the funniest shit. So it's always like the album will drop at 12:01, trash bins, whatever. For any artist, it's like, I think people are more excited about, being top comment than being, actually really taking in an album and listening. But inevitably, you need music in your life. So then 2-3 weeks passes and you get an honest gauge on what you just surrendered to.
I remember a line you said on Emotionless, you said opinions from total strangers take you out of your ways. Does that still bother you at this point in your career?
Depends on what narrative we're talking about, but definitely, of course, there's things, we are currently in a time where the stand-up comedian is almost like a newspaper, and the new comedian is just people with no filter on social media platforms. And while they are undefeated and extremely funny, of course people can start saying things that hurt you, that bother you, that fuck your day up, take you out of your character, especially when they're just like, they're curated by a group of people that are ready for the downfall of Drake in this case. So it's like, it can be some hurtful stuff, and when it's completely false, and when it's when it hits you, rubs you the wrong way, of course. I mean, I don't know anybody. Whoever tells you they're not is not being honest.
Why do you choose to stay engaged? Like you're on Instagram, you're active, you'll like things, we'll see your presence, we'll feel your presence on Instagram. Like, some artists can't find that balance and they don't want to be on social media.
Yeah, I just feel like then they beat me, because I enjoy social media. It's good for so many things, I've met so many great people, so many great songs have come from me being active and me actually checking my DM, or me, I've had great friendships form over social media. I've met great women over social media.
Full disclosure.
But
question me about stuff I'm trying to do around the house.
Before he even says friend of foe, y'all state your biz. Oh, you tend to dough? There it is, like even
in my mind, and use them to channel into other things.
And musically, like when it comes to criticism, like you mentioned earlier, how some people might say, hey, Drake's appropriating this culture of music, or, for your own personal gain. How do you feel about those kind of critiques?
I think that it's kind of a similar thing. They're curated by a bunch of people who just weren't on this boat to begin with. Like even the definition of appropriating a culture is not supporting that culture, doing songs with people who are deeply rooted in that culture, giving opportunity to people who are in that culture. That's not appropriating. Appropriating is taking it for your own personal gain and denying that it was ever inspired from this. That's the true disservice that somebody could do to the UK, to dance hall, to Afro beats. Me, I've always, anytime I embark on one of those journeys, I ensure that I'm not only paying all due respects verbally, but like I make a point to give opportunity to people that I respect,
So that's been a constant theme throughout all of your albums. Like, you have a lot of new artists' looks.
100%. I mean, again, I'm not one of those people that can be inspired by something and be like, oh, well, that was inspiring, thanks. And then just move on with it, under my arm, running down the field. I gotta at least honor the person that handed me off the football before I ran for the touchdown. I definitely feel because when I do things, they do get magnified and amplified. People can sometimes feel uncomfortable, like, oh, okay, one dance goes #1, and now all of a sudden, this Afro inspired. But it's WizKid was on the song with me, and I had blessings from the real dons in that space. I know those guys, I link with those guys, I go to their shows, they come to my shows, they touch my stage. So it's the chatter is one thing, but in the community, a amongst the real G's that are really doing this shit, I'm solidified for sure. You can ask anybody. Nobody's gonna sit there and say, yeah, like anybody that with real respect that's in any of these communities you're talking about, any of these genres, nobody's gonna be like, yeah, you know, it's gonna be the guys that are like, you know, that didn't get the look. You know, or guys that like are no longer even relevant in that space, but they have a radio interview that day and they want to be like, oh yeah, Drake, yeah, him doing Jamaican music is whack, you know. But it's like they're also mad that OVO signed Popcorn. They're also mad that I was building with Movado back in the day. They're mad that, you know, I link with this person and that person and not them.
Right.
So, you know, some people also feel it. You can always tell when it's personal, fueled by personal gain that was never granted to them.
It's interesting because like listening to your music is like you're super successful, you're one of the best to ever do it, yet you still have this chip on your shoulder. I remember listening to Diplomatic Immunity, you know, you have the line where you say you're black excellence, but it was come to you, it's not the same though. Like, why do you think that still, like, I guess, that dark cloud is over you, over your head?
Well, I think I've been in a lot of rooms and in a lot of conversations and just I've felt the other side of judgment and, you know, racial judgment sometimes, like being light-skinned, you know, being Canadian, having people that I look up to and respect tell me that I can't identify with what's going on because, you know, granted, I'm also not the most outspoken person when it comes to political issues. I prefer to talk about it amongst my people, and if we're gonna do something, I prefer to go and make the change or actually do something and not just like post about it so that people are like, oh wow, this guy's really conscious about what's going on. Like, you know, the work we put in the communities, you know, the way we give back is legit. It's on the ground. You know, it's not so you guys can all just like, you know, double tap and say, wow, oh my God, Drake's so like.
You said if you hold your tongue, you get crucified.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, sometimes you can feel that way, but now I feel like the first reaction is to post about something, and then people often just forget to do anything about what they posted about. You know, but I think that there's definitely a sad thing that goes on in celebrity culture where people post things because they feel like they're obligated to. People post things because they know that it makes them look like they're actively invested in certain things, but they're really not. You know, they're really actually not giving their money or building any opportunities for kids, building basketball courts, building schools, helping kids get through, you know. So, yeah, I'm just one of those people. I like to really do it, you know, and especially, you know, with me and the elusive one, you know, we you know, it's something that we really just do it from way back in the day, from Strawberry Mansion times, from, you know, we've always left our footprint in the community in a real way. Even back in Jamaica, you know, when I did shoot the video there, like we didn't just go shoot the video when I shot Find Your Love. We didn't just shoot the video and dip. You know, we built a place for people to come. We left our money there. You know, it was so. Yeah, going back to your question though, I've just felt the other side of it, so that's kind of where that line came from. You know, I obviously understand the times that we're living in and how serious it is and how divided we all are across the world. You know, with this, you know, with the person that's currently in that position, and you know, having that energy trickle on down. But that line is just me speaking to the other side of things, which is like, yo, sometimes like, you know, some of like my blackest friends can be just as cruel on the other end, you know, by making you feel excluded, or making you feel like you can't get in on this. And sometimes I do feel like if, you know, sometimes I don't feel celebrated when I know maybe somebody else would be celebrated for those accomplishments, you know? I don't feel like people say when Drake is the artist of the decade, I don't think anybody says, wow, a black artist is the artist of the decade. I don't think anybody says that, really. I never heard anybody say that in the last few weeks. You know, and I associate I associate myself as a black man. So for me, yeah, it's sometimes it's something that I just acknowledge and I just keep it moving. But, you know, like I said, I feel like if the situation was different, I feel like maybe some of the massive accomplishments and accolades that we've conquered on behalf of all of us, not just me. It's not like it's for all of us, right? Just like how